This looks good.
It looks good. I like it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, Soul Seekers. I'm one of your hosts and one of your soul guides, Patricia Ribeiro Wolfson.
Hi, everyone. I'm Linda Krause Barnett out here in sunny, kind of chilly today, Florida.
Chilly. Really? It's
chilly.
chilly in Florida.
Chilly for Florida. Like, I don't know, 70? No, it's.
I'm crying a little tear for your chilly Florida.
Oh, look, I'm in a long sleeve shirt.
You know, but I guess like there's people in colder places than I am probably going, why are you complaining about New York chill?
So anyone in Alaska, please type it where you are. I and you know this about me already, but for anyone watching who doesn't, I am like very intolerant of cold. Like I could get really, really, really hot. It could be 100 and I'm like, fine. But it's like 60 and I'm like, kids, layer up. And I've got, you know, I don't do cold as well as I used to back in the day, but now I'm like, Now I know why older people move away from like cold and snow. I think your skin gets thinner and you just like don't have the thick skin.
The protection. Yeah, maybe. Blubber. Definitely.
So welcome to your Monday morning.
Yes. Welcome.
Church's kids started school last week. Ours start tomorrow. But
my kids are very jealous of your kids.
Yeah, well, they probably got out earlier. Teachers go back today. So to all my teacher friends out there, I love you. I'm thinking of you. And welcome back to work.
I read a beautiful quote, actually, just to the teachers. And it was like, some kid has not received compliments or positive motivation since they left your class. So when you're walking in, think that there are kids who really need you to be there. Like, that, you know, paraphrasing, but it was a really sweet thought. Like some kids get, you know, a lot of love from their teachers at school.
And they're so excited to see, you know, I don't know, for those of you watching, I taught full-time in an elementary school classroom for 13 years. And then this year I took a leave of absence and I'm in the process of figuring out whether or not I'm going back, but anyways, so I think I know up here, but for 13 years I would go back to work and welcome kids back from break. And it was like a bittersweet day, if I'm honest, because they come back miserable to come back for the most part, at least outwardly, you know, but then they're also super excited to see you. They've missed you. And you could tell when they come in, you know, they're a little bit more huggy and a little bit more smiley because unwilling to admit that they have missed you. They have missed you. It's like a very bittersweet day. But one that I didn't experience this year, which was also very bittersweet. But what we wanted to talk to you about today is I was sharing with Trish. Again, for those of you who follow me or who are Trish's friends and may not know me very well, I just finished my first completed draft of my book. So, and I finished it 2 nights ago at about 5:00 in the morning. And it was like my first true, complete, beginning to end, first pass. I'm done. Now, Misty, my beautiful person who's helping me edit the book, is going to take over. And I was just like so cathartic. And I was like, I wanted to scream and celebrate and pop champagne. I just felt so accomplished. But it was 5 a.m. So my kids were sleeping. My husband was sleeping. Everybody was sleeping. The house was quiet. And I was so disappointed. I was like, hello, is anybody awake? So I sat there with all this built up joy and energy and happiness, waiting for someone to celebrate with. And when I got to thinking about it, I was like, I am completely unable at this point to celebrate solo. I just don't know how that would look. I don't know what to do. I don't feel as excited to celebrate alone than I will when my family wakes up. And I was like, wow, you know, I have a hard time doing things alone. I have a hard time going to dinner alone or a movie alone. I just, I would love to, because I would love to really enjoy my own company. And I was telling her that's something that my husband's really, really good at. He can go anywhere alone and be perfectly happy about it. I just don't have that skill set yet. And yesterday or the day before really brought that to my attention. Like, you're struggling right now on this solo celebration. Why? So I think that's something I'll need to like peel back the layers on, is how comfortable I am with my own company.
I think that that's an important, worthy, and sort of soul-seeking question.
Totally.
Is how much validation we require from external sources, whether it be from our friends or family, spouses. Who do we look to in order to validate the work that we've done? It's really interesting, and I can definitely relate to that, because I think it's something that I do too. Like, I'm always waiting to share if something awesome happens. I'll have to call someone to share, or share with someone in person, because you want to have somebody else decide to celebrate you. And part of it, I think, is because of that need for external gratification. But I think also the other part of that is our intense need of community, of belonging.
Right. A
like,
community.
We need that connection with other people. Like, it's not just because we need the validation, but it's also because we want to connect. We are wired to connect to other people. So everything is connected. So you want to be able to kind of bring people into your joy.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you 100%. That need for validation, that need for community, and a sense of belonging, right? So that's what we're all looking for. But I think that it's I think that's like a very natural kind of, human quality. But I think what's a little bit more difficult is our ability to stand still in our own space, and our ability to center with no one around, to do, like, that's an accomplishment for myself. Writing a book is something I've always dreamed of. It's something where I finally have looked at myself and said, okay, you wanted it, you've taken years to actually do it, and now you did it. Like, you did it. And the ability to just have a conversation with myself and celebrate myself. Hey, Linda, great job. Like, yeah, you did it. I'm so proud of you. I needed to hear it. I was having a really, I was resistant to providing that for myself. And to, in theory, I should have been able to look in the mirror and be like, you badass, you did it. You wrote the book. Yeah, I wouldn't have done that. I didn't do that. And I was waiting for people to get up and be like, yay, Linda, you were like you were the very first call. I just was so, I don't know. I just, as I'm speaking it, I'm hearing, like, at no point did I say that to myself. At no point until just now did I say, I'm really proud of you, Linda. Like, great job. And it feels awkward to do that. And I don't know why it shouldn't, because complimenting ourselves is just as important as the validation we give to others.
Yeah. And, perhaps really on a spiritual and emotional level is even more important. But I do think that we don't really get practice.
Right.
I think that, even growing up, whenever you give yourself kudos, it's almost like, well, you're boasting.
Right. Or arrogant.
Exactly. And, there's a fine line between being conceited and being appreciative of your value, and I think that it's very hard for people to make that distinction because of how we were raised to, like, not to toot your own horn, or not to talk about yourself, or not to, like, don't think you're all that. Right. And it's like, well, no, you need to think that you're all that in order to succeed, because if you don't think you're all that, no one else is going to think you're very much either.
Yeah, and absolutely.
I really think that's part of the journey that you and I have been on, and I think other soul seekers are on. And it's really connecting to that part of ourselves that sees our value you, you know, whether it's our higher selves or, you know, our spirit guides or, you know, like the infinite consciousness, the source, whatever, you know, and connecting with that power and realizing how amazing we are. It's so funny because just today, you know, hanging out with my husband, we were, you know, looking at one of our boys and just literally said out loud, like, you know, he doesn't know how magical he is. And it made me think, like, I think that, you know, source and, you know, our spirit guides and our you know, our consciousness, like, looks at us and goes, man, you're so powerful. Why can't you see it? Like, almost
Totally.
like, and both of us are moms, so we can see that. We can look at our kids and be like, my God, you don't know how much, you don't see how beautiful you are. You don't see how powerful you are. You don't see how amazing you are. And our kids, like, they don't see how amazing and powerful and beautiful they are. And at the same time, it's a reflection for us to remind ourselves of how amazing and beautiful and powerful we are.
We are. Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because, as you know, I saw Misty on Friday, and
I'm so jealous.
we were there in spirit, I promise.
I know.
You were like a big, huge part of the conversation. But we got onto this because, you know, part of the book that I'm writing has this part in it about that, about kind of embracing your own magic and seeing yourself. But I was saying to her that all this time that I thought I was lost and I didn't think people were seeing me, as soon as I made the internal changes that I needed to make, as soon as I saw myself and I saw my gifts and I kind of stood proudly in front of people and said, here's what I want you to see when you look at me. Like, this is who I am. It was as if I had taken a totally different mirror and placed it in front of myself. You know, yeah. I didn't feel like they were looking at the same this is me, but something shifted in the feedback that I got. Something shifted in the way people saw me. And so we are our own mirrors. Mm-hmm. And as soon as you kind of decide what reflection you want to put out there, you will literally change what people see. I don't know the science behind it, but genuinely people see whatever you want them to about you. So if you feel invisible, then you become invisible. And when you feel powerful and proud and magical, then people, you get evidence of how powerful and magical you are. And that was a huge lesson for me that changed my life, really. You know, it's just like, whoa, why are people suddenly so attracted to who I am? And a couple months ago, I felt like no one liked me. Well, It was because, you know, that little switch inside myself had gone off, and that's all it takes. It's as easy as that.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. And I agree that it's all about perspective, and it's all about our own perspective about ourselves and about what we see, and that will shift literally everything.
And you're so right. Like, I wish we could be as good of a parent to ourselves as we are to our children, you know, like every lesson we teach them are some of the ones we're still kind of hammering out. And it's like, we're teaching them how to see themselves, and maybe they need a stronger example, you know, something we need to step into a little bit more.
Yes. So on that note, for those of you who are interested, our show will officially be back this week on Thursday at 11 o'clock on YouTube. So just go on to youtube.com/soulseekerstve. And if you have not caught up on our episodes that are already there, please do so before Thursday, and then watch the new one, and make sure that you subscribe to get notifications of any of our new videos that come on the screen. And please share it with your family and your friends.
Yep. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.